हेलो एवरीवन, वी हैव टू डिस्कस अबाउट इट आईएएस बाबा टेस्ट सीरीज। क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 देख लेते हैं। विथ रेफरेंस टू द मसाला बॉन्ड एंड कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट। सी 1 and 3। Masala bond consider the following statement 1 and 3. Masala bond are the bond and issues outside India. The International Finance Corporation IFC and named it as the Masala bond. Masala bond and are and the bond and issues the outside India and but and the denominated in Indian rupees and rather than the local and currency. जो masala and is and the Indian and bud and it is means and the species the term and was the used and by the International Financial Corporation IFC and to the evolve the culture and the cuisines of India. Question number 92. Consider the following statement. Budget 2020 provisions and the 6 and 2 and the tax incomes and of and the non-residents and Indians the who are and not and the paying and taxes in any and the other tax jurisdictions. Question number 2. Income and the earned and the outside in India and by him and the shall not be and the taxed in and the Indias and unless it is the derivables and from and the Indian and business and or and the professions. The budget 2020 amendment and the tax and residency and rules and for and the NRI and S till the financial year by and 2019 and 20 and the NRI and who and the visited. India would be considered as a residence and if they the spent and 182 and the days or more in the previous year in the current country and in the addition to and the aggregation and history of the 365 days. 93. With reference to the National Bar and Memorial, consider the following statement. A. The National Bar Memorial draws and the inspiration and from and the Chakravyuh formation. The India Gate itself and is the bar and the memorial built and during and the British Raj and as and the All India Bar and Memorials and arch and to the honors and the soldiers and who did in the First World War in 1914-1918. The third and the Anglo-Afghan and war in 1990. The national and war and the memorials and payables and tributes and to the soldiers and who the laid down there the lives and the defending and the nation and during and the India-China and war in the 1962. Indo-Pakistan War 1962. Indo-Pakistan and war in 1947, 1965 and the 1971. India Peace and Keeping and Force and operation in the Sri Lankas and in and the Kargil conflict of the 1919. Which of the following and the statement is are the correct and regarding the Parambiculam Tiger Reserve? The centuries and is and the home and of for and the different tribes and of and the indigenous people including the Kadhar and the Malasars and Madhubar and the Mala and Malasars. The oldest ever and the tick and trees and the Kaninmara and tick and exide here. The Parambicular Tiger Reserve is the protected and areas and in the Parambicular districts and of and the Kerala state. It is in the Sungam and range of the hills and between and the Malai and hills and the Nallam and the Nalam and Pethi and the Parambiculums and the wildlife sanctuary was declared and as a part of the Parambiculums and Tiger Reserve on the February 19, 2010. Question number 95. With references to the sarang and consider the following statement. Sarang consider कौन सा होता है? Sarang and has been and the upgraded successfully and from the its and previously specification by the ordinance and the factory and board. The indigenously upgraded 155 and the members and 45 and the calibrated and artilleries and the guns and Sharangan and the system and was the successfully and test and the fired and 8 and the long proved and the ranges and LPR of and the Kamarias and in and the Jabalpur districts of the Madhya Pradesh. 96. Consider the following statement and Bangladesh. Bengal and Eastern the frontier and regulation in BEFR and 1873 and empower the lieutenant and the governor to the define and the inner lines and the beyond and which no and the British and subjected and off and the certain classes and off and the foreign residents and could be. could pass without other license, and the Government of India Act 1935 and prescribe and the included area and the particularly existence in area and to be the under and the direct and control of the provision and governors and to the exclusively of the Indian legislation. The BEFR and the empowered and the lieutenant and governors and to the define and the inner lines and beyond and which know the British and subjected of the certain and classes or and the forest residents and the could pass and the without other license and giving and the government and untrammed control and thus and the regulation and which are the still in the forts and covers and the Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram and Nagaland, Manipur and has also the now and been and the subsumed into and the purviews and of and the inner lines. Question number 97 and the Yongle and the blue holes and was in the news and recently what is located? A, East and the Philippines. C, and the Yonglo and the blue hole is and the world and deepest and blue holes. And it is the located in the southern and China, east and the Philippines and sea. It has been the depth of the 300 meter and far and the deeper than and the previously and recorded deepest and blue and hole and the Dean and the blue and hole in the Brahmas and which and had other depth and of and the 202 meters and like and most blue holes and it is the Anoxis. Question number 19. Which of the following countries in India and largest trading partners? Largest trading partner USA. USA has and the surpassed and China and to the become and the India's and top and trading partners and showing the greater and economic ties and between the two countries. Question number 19 and which of the following pairs are correctly matched? कौन सा होता है? इग्लेनेस्ट एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी होती है अरुणाचल प्रदेश में होती है, मलाई एंड महादेश्वरा एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी होती है कर्नाटका में होती है, तोलपेटी एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ सेंचुरी होती है केरला में होती है. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कंट्रीज एंड हैव एंड द कोलैबोरेटेड एंड विद एंड द इंडिया for the government to government and the agreement and on and the jet engines and the technology development. बी होती है यूनाइटेड एंड द किंगडम्स होती है, यूके की होती है एंड द कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स एंड बी एंड टू ओनली एंड द अस्क दिशा एंड द चेटबोर्ड एंड कैन एंड द कन्वर्स एंड द इवन एंड इन एंड द हिंदी लैंग्वेज एंड द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड बेस्ड द अस्क दिशाज एंड द चेटबोर्ड एंड इज एंड द डेवलपमेंट टू द रिजॉल्व एंड क्वारीज एंड ऑफ एंड द रेलवे एंड पैसेंजर्स एंड ओवर द इंटरनेट एंड द pertaining and to the various services and offered and by the IRCTC in orders and to the resolve and the queries and of and the railway passengers and over and the internet and pertaining and to and the various services and offered. Indian Railway has the introduced and the services and of and the artificial intelligence and based and the ASK Dishas and the chartboard and in the October 2018. Question number 102 and with references to One Health and consider the following statement. See both 1 and 2. The concept of the One Health and the recognition and that the health of the human beings is concerned connected and to the health of the animals and environment. The concept of the One and the health and can be and the effectively and the implementation and for and the reducing and the indicated in C. Dance and of and the emerging and the Juno Neotics and theaters. C is correct, sir. The concept of the One Health and the which and the recognize and that the health and of and the human being is the connected and to the health and of and the animals and environment. The concept of the One Health and can be and the effectively and the implementation for the reducing and the evidence and of and the emerging zoonotics and threat and like the COVID-19. Which of the following statement is are and the connected and regarding the अटल and भुजल योजना अब है? अटल भुजल योजना अब किसके रिगार्डिंग में होती है? इंडियन 1 and 2. It is the central and sector scheme होती है. It is the being implemented by the Ministry of the Jal Shakti. The Atal Bhujal Yojana and Abhay and is other central and sectors and scheme होती है worth and the 6,000 and the crore and for and the sustainable management of the groundwater and with and the community participating and it is the envisages and the pupils and participating and the thorough and the formations and of the water upper association and water and the budging and the preparations and the implementation of the gram panchayat and wise and the water security plan etc. Question number 104. Which of the following and the statement is are the correct and the regarding narcotics and the sector controls and bureaus and NBC NCB किसके रिस्पेक्ट में होती है? NC 2 and 3. The NCB and the national and the headquarters is located in the Mumbai and it is comes and the under the Ministry of the Ministry and of and the Home Affairs. The Director of the Revenue and the Intelligence and DRIN is on the mobile measures and the intelligence and agency and the with reference. with reference and the prohibitions of and the smugglings and of and the items and including and drugs and gold and the diamond and the electronics and a foreign currency and the counterfeit and the Indian currency, narcotics and the controls and the bureaus, and it was and the constituted by the government of India in the 1986 and under the narcotics and the drug and the physio and the traffic and the substance act 1985. 105. The term operation and the Banila and is and the sometimes seen in the news and with and reference to Banila sometimes seen in the news में क्यों होता है B. It is the operations and the launched by the Indian and the Navy to the assist करता है the populations and of and the Madagascar affected by the cyclone DN. The recently the Indians. It is the tropicals and the cyclones in origin and northwest and often the coast and often the where it is in the south and western India. Madagascar has been and hit and why and it and there and has been and the heavy and the flooding and the landscapes. Casings and the lows and off and the lips and the displacement and affecting and the more than 92,000 pupils in India has been and the first and the country and to the respondent to the flood in Madagascar and the 106 considered the following and the statement and with respect to the Gandhinagar declaration किसके respect में रहता है and see. The declaration and the urges and parties and other and the government and to the ensures and the affecting and the liaisons between the national and the focus and the point and of and the convention of the military and species and the those and of and the convention and on and the biodiversity and the other and diversity and related conventions and the agreement as well as and the parties agreement under and the United Nations frameworks and convention of the climate change. The declaration and recognize the importance of the scenarios and the operation and among the diversity and related convention and the others and multilateral environmental and agreement and that and theirs and rule and should be and the clarity and reflected in the post and 2020 and the global and biodiversity frameworks. The Gandhinagar Declaration emphasizes that and the improvement of the ecological connectivity and is on the top and the prosperities and for and the convention on the migratory and the species in the post and 2020 global and the biodiversities and the framework and that and the role and of and the convention body and should be and the clearly and the reflected in the post and 2020 and framework. The declaration also the recognition the importance of the scenarios and the of cooperation among biodiversity and related convention and other and the multilateral environmental agreement and that and there's the role and should be and the clearly and the affected reflected and in and the post 2020 globally and the biodiversity frameworks. According to the FAO and which one of the following and the areas and are and the identified and host sport and of and the threatening and locust and the activities किस में रहती है and the Horn of Africa में, Red Sea Africa में, Asia में, Southwest Asia में. The Food and the Agreement Organization FAO and of and the United Nations has the currently and identified and three and the hotspot of the threatening locust and the activities and bears. Where the situation and has been the cold and the extremely and the alarming and the homes and of and the Africa, the Red Sea and the areas and the Southwest Asia, the Horn of Africa has been and the cold and the worst and affected an area, and where the FAO and has and the said and there is and the predented and threat and to and the food security and the livelihood and 4 species of the locust. Question number 108 and which of the following statement are correct? कौन सा statement correct है? 100% and the income and tax and the exceptions and is giving and from and the profit and delivered and from and the activities such as the post and the harvest and value addition and to the agriculture and by the farmers productions and organization FPO having annual turnover होता है up and the 100 crore का. Question number 100 India and the economy and the study to 2035 is associated with which of the following and the countries किस country के में respect में है? ऑस्ट्रेलिया के में. India and economic strategy is the ambition plan होता है to the transfer and Australia economic partnership and with India out of the 2013 and 110. Question 110 and the National Tiger Conservation Authority NTCA and is set up under किसके ज़्यादा Wildlife and Protection Act 1972. The National and the Tiger and Conservation Authority is other statutory body and under the Ministry of the Environmental, the Forest and the Climate Changes and Constitution under the enabling and the provisions and of and the Wildlife Protection Act of the 1972. Which of the following statement is not the correct one regarding the Gram and the Nyala? The state and the government shall the appoint and the proceedings and the officers and the code and the naya Dhikari and four and the every and gram the Nyayalas and the consultation and with and the districts code and gram and the Nyala and cell and the exercise only the civil and jurisdictions. The state government and the constitutions and with and the high court and the notified and the boundaries and of and the areas and under the jurisdiction of the gram Sabha Nyala. And what is the main and the aim of the genomes and India's and project genome India's project and to the ultimately and the bird and the grid of the Indian reference and the genomes and to the understand and fully and the type and the natures and of the diseases and the trait and there the comprises and the diverse and the Indians and populations. The genomes and India's project and will the involve and the 20 leading and the instituting and including and the Indians and institution of science IISC in Bengaluru and other few and the IITS. With references to the inner line and the permits and ILP and the protected area and permits and PAP and consider the following statement. C2 only and the Nagaland is other recent and state to join and the ILP state list. The last state to the join and the ILP state list and the Manipur has the launch and the online and portals and for and the travelers and to the sick and inner and the line permits. Consider the following statement regarding the locust and swarm. Locust swarm किसके respect में रहता है? C. 1 and 3 and the desert and locust are only and found in the Africa and locusts and the carry disease that can and the harm human. The major locust and attack and has been the observed in the several and the country in western and the southern and Asia and in and the eastern Africa. Question number 115 and Pakke and the tiger reserve is situated in which of the following state and B and the Arunachal Pradesh. Pakke and tiger reserve is situated in the state of and the Arunachal Pradesh on corridor the highway and M2 and the connected the Arunachal Pradesh with and the Assams. Question number 116 which of the following and statement is are the correct with reference with respect to the nutrient and based subsidies and NBS schemes. NBS scheme किसके respect में रहती है? NC. A fixed amount of the subsidy is decided and on an and the annual basis is the provided on each and the graded and of and the subsidiary phosphatics and the potassics and the P and K and the fertilizers A the complex and fertilizer ammonium and the phosphate and was the recently included under the nutrient based and the subsidies schemes. In 2010 and the government had and the launch and the nutrient and based and the subsidy and NBS and the programs and under and the which A the fixed and the amount of the subsidies decided on and the annual basis is the providing and on and the each and graded and of and the subsidy and phosphorus and the potassium and P and K and the fertilizer extracted and for the ureas and used and on and the nutrient content presented in them. Which of the following statement and B and the 1 and 2 and the numbers and of and the ventures and the eagles and has and the decrease in the country and the 4 and the species of the westerns and in and the Indias and have all the suffered and the continuous and population decline because of the historical and hunting and the widespread and habitat losses. The numbers and of the birds and in the Western Garden which is the considered and one of the world and the foremost and the biodiversity hotspot and also in the decline and by other almost 75% and since 2000. Question number 118 which of the following pairs are correctly matched? The Kalasa and Banduri and Nala and the project in Karnataka and the Kalishwarams and the lift and the irrigation project Telangana and Pathan and the hydroelectrical and power plant होता है महाराष्ट्र में होता है. The North and the Deccan and community where in the news and the it is belonged कहाँ से belonged करती है to the none of them. Which of the following national park and lost and the about 650 square and kilometers into and the decades and from and the 1991 and the Papi Kondas and national park. Thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.